AITA for leaving after my dad gave the family business to my brother? My older brother Mike, who is 30 years old now, took off to college after high school, earned his degree, and spent a few years working in the city as an accountant. I am 27 now, and my path was different right from the start. I started helping my father with plumbing jobs when I was just 15. That is when I got serious about the trade and went to college to get certified in plumbing and gas work. Around the time the pandemic started, Mike ended up coming back home from the city. Out of nowhere, he started helping my father with the office work and managing the books. My father, who is 55 now, has been struggling with health problems for several years. He was diagnosed with asbestosis, and it has only gotten worse over time. It has been tough on everyone seeing him slow down, but even with all that, my father still finds ways to enjoy life whenever he can. For the past couple of years, I have been the one keeping the business running day to day. In that time, we grew a lot, and now we have 50 vans on the road. Each van has a fully licensed plumber and a trainee riding along with them. The first year of the pandemic nearly crushed us, but we found our footing again and got back to making a good living. These days, the only time I actually work with my tools is Friday mornings. I do that mostly so I can work alongside my dad like we used to. After that, we usually head back to my place, have a few beers, and just hang out. Every other day of the week, I am tied up managing the whole operation. Then, about a month ago, my father called the family together to tell us he was stepping down because of his health. He said he wanted to spend more time with my mom and take it easy. But then, right in front of everyone, he said he was giving the entire business to Mike. On top of that, he told me I would be stepping down from running things and going back to just being a heating engineer. They also cut my pay by $20,000 a year. The part that really floored me was the fact that Mike never wanted anything to do with this business. When we were younger, he used to talk about how working with your hands was a waste of time. Now, all of a sudden, he was in charge of everything, and I was getting pushed aside after over a decade of hard work. To make it even worse, Mike does not know the first thing about plumbing or running a crew. I sat down with my father after all this, just to try and understand why he made that call. He told me Mike deserved it more because he had a family to support and a university degree. He even said Mike gave up a lot by leaving the city to come back and help out. That was a joke to me. A lot of the guys on the crew were just as shocked as I was. Several of them even told me they would rather follow me to a new company than stay and work for Mike. That was when I told my father that if this was really how he felt, I would leave and start over on my own. Since that day, I have not said a word to either my father or my brother. I told them both not to contact me, and I meant it. That has not stopped my phone from ringing constantly, though. A bunch of relatives have been calling and sending messages, telling me I am selfish and ungrateful for walking away from what I had. A lot of the things they said were just plain cruel. So now I have to ask, am I really in the wrong here? Edit, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has taken the time to send me a message or leave a comment. There are so many I cannot reply to every single one, but I do appreciate all of them. Hearing my own father, in his own way, tell me I was not good enough to run the business after everything I poured into it has been hard to deal with. What made it even worse was seeing so many relatives instantly take my father and Mike's side without even asking for my side of the story. First thing tomorrow morning, I am going to start reaching out to some of the big clients I built relationships with over the past 6 years. There are a few big projects that got put on hold when the pandemic hit, and I am hoping I can pick those up for myself. About 20 of the guys from the crew already told me they want to come work for me if I open my own shop. I have saved most of the money I made over the last 12 years, so I think I have got enough to get started. Update, I want to make one thing clear, I am not doing this to destroy Mike or to tear the business down, even though I will admit the thought crossed my mind. The truth is, I spent nearly 13 years helping to build this company from nothing, and I do not want to see all that work go to waste or put anyone out of a job. Right now, it is about 6 in the morning here in England, and I am honestly blown away by all the support you have all shown me. Later this morning, around 8 o'clock, I am going to drive over to my parents' house, pick up my dad, and take him out to breakfast. I do not know if I will get any real answers, but I still love my family, and if I ever have kids, I want them to know their grandparents. I will let you all know how it goes. Right now, I have pretty much everything I need to kick off my own company. I have 3 vans that belong to me outright, and I have been stocking up tools and equipment for years. I am feeling good about what is ahead, and honestly, I am excited about building something that I can pass down to my kids one day when I have a family of my own. Not too long after I made that decision, my father called me up out of the blue and asked if I would come over for dinner. At first, I was not too sure if I wanted to go, but I figured maybe this was his way of trying to smooth things over. I hoped maybe it would be the start of us patching things up. When I got there, though, it was not exactly what I was expecting. My whole family was already there, and the second I stepped through the door, I could feel it. The air in the room got heavy, like everybody knew something I did not. My mom could not even bring herself to look at me, and Mike sat there with this smug look, acting like I was invisible. After a few minutes, my dad came over and asked me and Mike to come with him into his office. As soon as we got in there, he started talking like nothing had happened. He asked me when I planned on coming back to work, and told me they needed me at the shop bright and early Monday morning. I just stood there for a second, trying to figure out if he was joking. But he was serious. I told him straight up, I was not coming back. I had already started my own business, and besides, there was no we. He gave the whole business to Mike, so what exactly did he mean by we? That was not the team I had been part of for over a decade, that was Mike's company now. That was when Mike lost it. He started yelling, saying if I really gave a damn about the business, I never would have walked out in the first place. I had been holding my tongue for weeks, but I could not anymore. I told him to his face that I had cared more about that business than anyone, and that I put in 12 years of sweat to build it up from practically nothing. Meanwhile, he just waltzed in at the last minute, got handed the keys, and wanted to take credit for all of it. There was no way I was going to sit there and let him treat me like I was nothing. I will admit, I lost my temper too. I told Mike exactly where he could stick it and told him to get the hell out of the office so I could talk to our father alone. Once Mike left, I turned to my dad and asked him what that whole breakfast talk was about. That morning, he told me he was sorry and seemed like he actually felt bad about how he handled things. Now, here he was acting like none of that ever happened and just expected me to come crawling back. He would not even look me in the eye. That was all I needed to see. I walked out of the house, but not before saying goodbye to my cousins, nieces, and nephews. After that, I was done. I could not keep fighting to prove my worth to my own family. I spent the next few hours off and on writing all this down because I needed somewhere to put it. Honestly, talking to all the people who reached out has helped more than I can say. I do not know if I will be able to get back to everyone, but I appreciate every message, every comment, and every bit of support. Right now, I am just worn out, and I am probably going to crash hard once I finish writing this. Update 4. It has been a little while since I last wrote anything, and a lot has happened these past few weeks. I will do my best to lay it all out. The new business is actually off to a really strong start. There is more work coming in than I expected, and we are already turning a solid profit. If things keep going this way, I am hoping to expand before the year is over. I have to say, it feels pretty damn good to be in charge of my own future for once. On top of that, things with my fiancée have been great. She has been up to her ears planning the wedding, which is coming up fast, and even though she really wants me to wear a suit, I have already told her there is no chance of that. I will be standing at the altar in my kilt, whether she likes it or not. I know it might sound strange after everything, but I am honestly happier than I have ever been. Every morning I wake up next to her, and I feel lucky. No matter what has happened with my family, she has stood by me every single step of the way, and I could not ask for a better partner. As for my family, things are still not great. My father and Mike both refused to speak to me. They even said they are not going to come to the wedding, not that they ever got an invitation in the first place. My mother has only called my fiancé once or twice, but all she asked about was some wedding details. She will not speak to me directly at all. The bright spot in all this has been my fiancé's family. Her parents and the rest of her relatives have gone out of their way to make me feel welcome and have been nothing but supportive, not just with the wedding but with my new business and everything else. I cannot even put into words how much that has meant to me. Some of my other family members, the ones who jumped down my throat at the start, have started to back off. A few even apologized and said they want to move on from all the drama. I do not know if I am ready for that yet, but it is something. My fiancé and I are getting married in November, and after a long talk, we both agreed we are ready to try for kids right after the wedding. I have always wanted to be a dad, and knowing we are both on the same page about starting a family has made all of this a little easier to handle. No matter what happens with my parents or my brother, I know I am building something for my own family now, and that is what matters.